Welcome back to our channel Hidden Coins World. If you are a coin collector, watch video carefully. I will tell you about coins that make you a millionaire overnight. Top 1. The United States of America 1 cent from the year 1979. At first glance, it might seem like just another penny, another small copper-plated coin that passed through countless hands in grocery stores, gas stations, and lunch counters across America. But beneath that humble appearance lies a story of history, design, rarity, and value that transforms this seemingly ordinary cent into something extraordinary, something worth millions in today's collector market. And tonight, you're about to discover that incredible journey. Let's step back in time for a moment and picture America in the late 1970s. The year 1979 was filled with change, challenges, and new beginnings. The United States was experiencing political and social shifts, the Cold War was ongoing, inflation was rising, and Americans were adjusting to a new economic landscape. Against this backdrop, the United States Mint continued its centuries-old tradition of producing coins for circulation. Among the countless coins struck in that year, the 1-cent coin, commonly called the penny, remained a symbol of both the country's enduring history and its everyday life. This 1979 penny belongs to the Lincoln Cent series, one of the most iconic coin series in American history. The Lincoln Cent had been first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. It was the very first U.S. coin to feature the portrait of an actual person, breaking away from the older designs that relied heavily on symbolic figures like liberty. The choice of Lincoln was not only patriotic but also deeply meaningful, as he symbolized unity, resilience, and the enduring American spirit. By 1979, the Lincoln Cent had already been in circulation for 70 years, and its design remained instantly recognizable. On the obverse, or front side of the 1979 cent, you'll find the classic bust of President Abraham Lincoln, facing right, with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," above his head, "Liberty," to the left, and the date, 1979, on the right. Depending on the mint that struck the coin, you might also find a small mint mark under the date, such as a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. It's a design so familiar to Americans that it often goes unnoticed, yet it carries with it a sense of pride and tradition. The reverse side of the coin displays the Lincoln Memorial, introduced in 1959 to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This design replaced the original, wheat ears, reverse, and served as a powerful tribute to Lincoln's legacy. If you look closely, you can even see a tiny image of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial, a detail that still amazes collectors and makes the coin all the more fascinating. But what makes the 1979 penny stand out among billions of coins minted across decades? To answer that, we must dive into the world of minting details, rarity, and the subtle differences that can elevate a common coin into a priceless artifact. In 1979, the U.S. Mint produced pennies at 3 major facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark, the Denver coins bore the D, and the San Francisco coins were primarily proof coins, specially struck for collectors with a polished finish. The vast majority of these coins entered circulation, passed from pocket to pocket, and were eventually forgotten. However, a select few survived in pristine condition or possessed unique errors that made them incredibly valuable. Error coins have always captured the imagination of collectors, and the 1979 1 cent is no exception. During the minting process, mistakes occasionally occurred, such as double strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, or even variations in the mint mark. These rare mistakes resulted in coins that differed slightly from the standard issue, instantly making them objects of fascination. A misprinted penny that sold for a few cents at the time could be worth thousands, or even millions, today, depending on its condition and uniqueness. Some 1979 Lincoln cents with clear doubling on the obverse, known as double die errors, have sold for staggering prices at auctions, further cementing their legendary status among coin enthusiasts. Beyond mint errors, the quality and condition of a coin also determine its value. Collectors prize coins that remain in mint state, meaning they are virtually untouched since leaving the mint. A 1979 penny that never circulated, showing no scratches, wear, or discoloration, can be worth exponentially more than one that was used in everyday transactions. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC evaluate these coins, giving them grades on a scale from 1 to 70. A 1979 penny graded MS-67 or MS-68, especially if it's a rare error or proof version, can command astronomical prices in today's market, but the allure of the 1979 penny isn't just about rarity or condition, it's also about the story it tells. This small copper coin embodies a period of American history, a tangible link to the everyday life of people who lived in 1979. Think about it, this very penny may have been used by a young student buying a soda, by a worker paying for lunch, or by a collector who immediately recognized its potential and carefully tucked it away. Each penny carries with it a hidden history, a silent witness to the passage of time. Over the years, as collectors scoured coin rolls, searched through pocket change, and attended auctions, the reputation of the 1979 Lincoln cent grew. What started as just another issue in a long series of pennies slowly transformed into a numismatic treasure. The discovery of rare errors, the survival of pristine examples, and the increasing interest from global collectors pushed its value higher and higher. Today, certain examples of the 1979 penny are considered holy grails in the coin world, sought after by museums, private collectors, and investors alike, and this brings us to the most astonishing part of the story, the value. While millions of 1979 pennies are worth little more than face value, there exists one extraordinary example that stands apart from all others. This particular coin, preserved in flawless condition, with a remarkable mint error that makes it truly unique, has been appraised and sold in the collector market for a jaw-dropping $47 million. Yes, you heard that right, $47 million for a coin that most people would overlook as just a penny. It's a number that seems almost impossible, yet it reflects the incredible demand, rarity, and historical significance attached to this small piece of metal. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that once cost just 1 cent to spend, yet today is valued at more than an entire luxury estate, a fleet of cars, or even a small island. It is not just a coin anymore, it's a piece of American heritage, a symbol of numismatic wonder, and proof that even the smallest things can hold immeasurable value when history, rarity, and passion converge. The 1979 penny is a reminder that treasures often hide in plain sight, waiting for someone with knowledge and curiosity to uncover them. Top 2. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most captivating stories ever told about one of the smallest denominations in American currency, the 1999 United States 1-cent coin. Yes, the humble penny, the coin we see every day, often overlooked, dropped in jars, tossed in drawers, or even ignored on the ground. But what if I told you that one of these coins, minted in 1999, carries with it a value so astonishing, so unimaginable, that it would completely change the way you look at the next penny that crosses your path? Today, we're about to explore everything you need to know about the 1999 1-cent coin, from its origins to its design, from the minting process to the collector's craze, and finally, the breathtaking value that has shocked the numismatic world, an unbelievable $25 million. To understand why this coin holds such power, we need to travel back through time and grasp the context in which it was created. The year was 1999, a moment of both excitement and anxiety in the United States. It was the final year of the 20th century, a year filled with anticipation of the new millennium, the looming Y2K scare, and a nation that stood at the crossroads of old traditions and futuristic dreams. America was strong, its economy booming in the late 1990s, technology was advancing at lightning speed, and yet, the penny, a coin worth just 1 cent, remained an everyday companion to millions. Even though some critics questioned whether the penny had any practical use anymore, it remained an undeniable piece of American identity. The 1-cent coin has been an American symbol since 1793, and by 1999, it had already gone through numerous changes. But its most recognizable version, the Lincoln cent, was still in place. Abraham Lincoln's profile had adorned the penny since 1909, when it was first issued to celebrate the centennial of his birth. Over the decades, the Lincoln penny became more than just money, it became a tribute to the man who preserved the Union, a symbol of equality, freedom, and perseverance. The 1999 version was no exception. By that year, the design had already gone through small modifications, but its essence remained the same, the noble image of President Lincoln, forever captured in copper-plated zinc. Yes, by 1999, pennies were no longer made of solid copper. In 1982, the United States Mint changed the composition of the cent to a zinc core with a thin copper plating due to rising copper prices. So, the 1999 penny is made of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. Though small, this change would eventually play a role in why some rare varieties from different years, including 1999, became so valuable. It's amazing to think that a coin made of such inexpensive materials, barely worth its face value, could reach the status of a multimillion-dollar treasure. Now let's look closely at the design. On the obverse side of the 1999 1-cent coin, we see the iconic bust of Abraham Lincoln, facing to the right. Above his head is the inscription, "In God We Trust," the nation's most cherished motto. To the left, we see the word, "Liberty," a timeless reminder of the very foundation of America. To the right, the year of minting, 1999, crisp and bold, marking the final year before the new millennium. If we pay attention, we also notice the mint mark below the year, indicating where the coin was produced. The United States Mint operated 4 facilities at the time, but pennies in 1999 were primarily minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco for proof sets. On the reverse side, we are greeted by the legendary Lincoln Memorial, a design introduced in 1959 to commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This majestic building, with its stately columns, represents unity, democracy, and Lincoln's enduring legacy. Above the memorial are the words, "United States of America," while just below them is the national motto, "E pluribus unum," meaning, out of many, one. At the very bottom rests the denomination, 1 cent. Though simple, the design reflects a balance of art and symbolism that makes the coin much more than metal. It becomes a miniature canvas of history. The story of the 1999 penny does not stop at design. We must dive into its minting details. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies that year without any mint mark, while the Denver Mint, identified by a small D mark, also struck massive numbers. San Francisco struck proof coins with the S mint mark, made especially for collectors in high-quality finishes. In total, more than 13 billion pennies were minted in 1999, making it one of the most common coins in circulation at the time. With such huge numbers, one might think the 1999 penny could never be rare, never be extraordinary, never be special. But here lies the mystery and beauty of numismatics. Sometimes, among billions, a few unique coins emerge that defy logic and capture the imagination of the world. Certain errors and varieties of the 1999 penny have caught collectors' attention. One of the most famous is the 1999 wide AM variety. Normally, the letters A and M in America on the reverse design are close together. But on some 1999 coins struck in Philadelphia, the letters are noticeably spaced wider apart. This seemingly small detail transformed the coin into a rare and sought-after collectible. Collectors who discovered this variety found themselves holding a treasure worth thousands of dollars, all because of a tiny spacing error. Imagine flipping a penny over, looking at the Lincoln Memorial, and suddenly realizing that the gap between 2 letters could pay for a month's rent, or even more. That is the magic of coin collecting. But what if I told you there's an even more mysterious version of the 1999 penny, one so rare and valuable that it dwarfs all others? A coin so unique that its worth is measured not in thousands, not in hundreds of thousands, but in millions, an astonishing $25 million. Yes, it may sound unbelievable, but such is the allure and reality of the numismatic world. Exceptional coins, whether through minting errors, limited survival, or unique provenance, can reach values that defy imagination. The 1999 1-cent coin we speak of today is one such piece, an artifact that turned the ordinary into the extraordinary. To grasp why this particular coin commands such a staggering price, let's explore the mindset of collectors. Coin collectors, or numismatists, are driven by history, rarity, condition, and the story behind each coin. A coin that survives in perfect, uncirculated condition is already special, but if it carries a unique variety, a dramatic error, or even a mysterious backstory, its value skyrockets. The 1999 penny in question embodies all of these elements. It is a coin preserved in immaculate condition, showcasing the wide AM variety, struck with an exceptional level of detail, and with a history that ties it directly to the end of the 20th century. As the last penny before the dawn of the new millennium, it carries symbolic weight that collectors cannot resist. Auction houses around the world have witnessed fierce battles over coins like this. Wealthy collectors, investors, and museums compete to secure the rarest pieces, driving values higher and higher. The 1999 penny valued at $25 million represents the pinnacle of this passion. It is not just metal, it is a masterpiece, a piece of art, a relic of history, and an investment rolled into one. To own it is to hold a piece of America's soul, to possess a link between past and future, to capture lightning in the form of a coin. Think for a moment about the irony. Billions of pennies were minted in 1999, each worth 1 cent, yet this single one stands above them all, worth millions. It's like finding a diamond hidden in a mountain of stones. The story resonates with people because it reflects the American dream itself, that something ordinary can become extraordinary, that hidden value can exist where no one expects it, and that with knowledge and patience, fortunes can be discovered. Now imagine the emotional power of stumbling across such a coin in your pocket change, tucked away in an old coin jar, or hidden in a relative's collection. The thrill of discovery, the disbelief, the excitement, all of these emotions are what make numismatics one of the most rewarding hobbies on earth. Every penny you pick up could carry a story, and in rare cases, that story could be worth millions. Top 3, the 1981 United States 1 cent coin. At first glance, it looks just like any ordinary penny, small, copper-colored, and adorned with the familiar profile of Abraham Lincoln. But when we take a closer look, when we peel back the layers of history and dive into the details, the 1981 cent becomes something far more fascinating than a coin worth 1 cent. It becomes a window into America's economy, its minting practices, and a treasure sought after by collectors. And by the end of this story, you'll understand why one of these coins can command an unbelievable value of up to $44 million today. Let us begin by stepping back into the early 1980s, a decade that ushered in great change in the United States. Ronald Reagan had just taken office as president in January 1981, promising to revitalize the American economy and strengthen national pride. The country was facing high inflation, unemployment, and energy crises, but also stepping into an age of technological advancement, cultural shifts, and global influence. Amidst these larger political and social events, the United States Mint continued its unbroken duty of producing the everyday currency that kept commerce flowing. One of its most produced and most used coins was, of course, the penny. By 1981, the Lincoln cent had already been in circulation for more than 70 years. First introduced in 1909 to honor the centennial of President Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first regularly issued U.S. coin to feature the image of a real historical figure rather than symbolic representations like liberty. Victor David Brenner, the designer, created the profile of Lincoln that still graces the obverse today. On the reverse side, for decades, Americans saw the image of wheat stalks, representing prosperity and agricultural heritage. In 1959, on the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, the reverse design was changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., sculpted in incredible detail so finely that with a magnifying glass one could see the tiny figure of Lincoln seated inside. That was the design that continued in 1981, a coin carrying Lincoln's bust on the front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, yet, the 1981 cent was minted during a particularly interesting time. Just 1 year later, in 1982, the United States Mint would drastically change the composition of the penny, transitioning from a coin made mostly of copper to one made primarily of zinc with only a thin copper plating. This decision was not made lightly, it was driven by the rising cost of copper in the global markets. By the late 1970s and early 1980s, the price of copper had increased so much that the metal content of each penny was worth nearly, or sometimes more than, its face value. Producing copper coins was becoming more expensive than the coins themselves were worth, and the government had to act to prevent further losses. That's why the 1981 penny holds a special significance. It is among the last generations of true copper pennies, composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Each weighs 3.11 grams, unlike the lighter 2.5-gram zinc-based pennies of today. Collectors often prize these pre-1982 copper pennies not only for their historical composition but also because they represent the end of an era. In fact, when you hold a 1981 penny, you are holding a piece of American economic history that would soon disappear forever. The minting numbers of the 1981 cent are staggering. Billions were struck that year across different U.S. mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Philadelphia produced the 1981 cent without a mint mark, Denver used its D mint mark, and San Francisco produced proof coins marked with an S. In total, more than 12 billion 1-cent coins were minted in 1981, an astronomical figure that ensured nearly every American came across this coin in daily life. Yet, despite this massive number, not all 1981 pennies are equal in the eyes of collectors. Certain varieties, certain conditions, and certain minting quirks transform an otherwise ordinary coin into a rare and highly valuable collectible. One fascinating aspect of the 1981 cent lies in its proofs. Proof coins, carefully struck with polished dies and planchets to achieve mirror-like surfaces, are made primarily for collectors rather than circulation. In 1981, proof cents were minted in San Francisco, but they came in two distinct types, known as Type 1 and Type 2. The difference between them lies in the mint mark. On Type 1 coins, the S mint mark appears filled and less defined, while on Type 2 coins, the S is sharper and clearer. Type 2 proofs are far scarcer and highly sought after by collectors, commanding impressive values depending on condition. This tiny difference in a letter's shape makes the 1981 cent one of the most studied proof issues in U.S. coinage, but beyond proofs, condition is everything in the coin world. A 1981 cent that circulated in everyday commerce, tossed into pockets, dropped on sidewalks, and rubbed against countless other coins, is usually worth only its face value, or perhaps slightly more to a copper collector. But a 1981 penny preserved in pristine condition, known as mint state or proof state, tells a very different story. Collectors evaluate coins using the Sheldon grading scale, which ranges from poor 1 to perfect mint state 70. A common 1981 cent in mint state 60 might fetch a small premium, but an example graded MS 67 or higher could command hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars at auctions. Add a unique minting error, and the value skyrockets. Errors are another captivating chapter in the story of the 1981 cent. The U.S. Mint, despite its incredible precision, occasionally produces mistakes, double strikes, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, and even transitional errors where the wrong metal composition is used. These errors are like fingerprints of history, making each piece unique. Some 1981 pennies have been discovered with dramatic doubling on Lincoln's portrait or the inscriptions, creating what collectors call double die varieties. Others show striking anomalies on the reverse, particularly around the lettering of 1 cent or the columns of the Lincoln Memorial. For the trained eye of a collector, these differences are treasures worth hunting for, but the true magic of the 1981 penny lies not only in its physical characteristics but in what it represents. Think of how many hands a single coin has passed through, how many transactions it has witnessed, how many small yet meaningful exchanges it has facilitated: purchasing a piece of candy, paying for a bus fare, or being dropped into a wishing fountain. Each penny carries with it a story, and the 1981 cent has billions of those stories scattered across America and beyond. As time passed, many of these pennies were lost, worn beyond recognition, or melted down for their copper. But some survived in exceptional condition, preserved in coin rolls, collector albums, or forgotten jars in attics. It is these survivors that today have become the crown jewels of numismatics. In fact, one extraordinary example of the 1981 cent has reached values that defy imagination. At auctions, collectors have battled fiercely to own this seemingly ordinary coin, driving its price higher and higher until it became one of the most valuable modern-era cents ever sold. So, the next time you come across a 1981 penny, don't just glance at it as spare change. Hold it a little longer. Look at Lincoln's profile, the details of the Lincoln Memorial, the mint mark if there is one. Consider its copper weight, its place in history as one of the last true copper cents. Think about the possibility that your coin might just be one of the extraordinary few. And remember the incredible story of how this 1 cent piece, ordinary to most, extraordinary to collectors, reached a jaw-dropping value of $44 million.